Welcome to our weekly press conference with head coach Tom Arth. This week, Akron closes out its non-conference schedule with a game at UMass on Saturday, September 28th. Kickoff is at 3:30 and will be streamed on Flow Football. Coach, would you like to start with an opening statement?
Thanks, Kathy. Thank you to everybody for being here. It's great to get back out there at practice today. It's got a great opponent this week. I think a team that is in a lot of ways in a lot of the same situations that we're in, but a very dangerous football team. I think you look at their returner. He's one of the best in the nation. Their offense is extremely dangerous, and we're going to have our work cut out for us, and it's exciting. It's an exciting opportunity for us to go play on the road, to go play against a good football team, and to have the opportunity for us to improve.
How do you ensure your guys aren't taking this for granted, given the record of both teams?
Well, George, I'm with you. I think that that would be such a huge mistake, and I really hope that we certainly wouldn't feel that way at all. Number one, this is a very dangerous football team. That's capable of scoring a lot of points. It's capable of making a lot of big plays in all phases of the game. So it's going to be a huge challenge for us playing on the road, going up there, and really kind of rallying around our team and rallying around the things that we can control. And the thing about it and the thing about our process and what we believe in is that our biggest opponent is us, and that's week in and week out. And it doesn't matter who we're playing, and we have to eliminate the self-inflicted. We have to eliminate making mistakes that prevent us from being successful and prevent us from being consistent. So, we could be out there, on air, and we're gonna have difficulties, and that's my biggest challenge, and that's the biggest challenge that we have is working that out. And I think this week what we've focused on, what I talked to the team about was really just kind of starting from scratch and really getting back to our mindset, our training camp mindset. Where it's all about our team, it's all about our improvement daily, all about our effort, all about doing the little things the right way, and how we practice and our standards that we expect our team to and our coaches to live up to every single day. So we've gotten back to that, and really focusing in on doing what we can for our teammates and supporting our teammates and bringing the best out of each other. And I think that for us, we have to focus there. We have to focus internally and on what's most important for us to improve.
Is there a way to quantify or qualify how much the lack of a consistency is on you guys as opposed to what the opposing team is doing in any given game?
It's certainly it's a combination. Certainly we've played some really good football teams, and there's a reason why they've won a lot of football games this season and in over the past few years. But I think again those aren't we don't control that. We can only control our performance and how we play, and I think that's from my perspective as a coach is where I have to focus 100% of my energy is in helping our players control the things that they can control, and playing as well as they can and getting aligned and knowing their assignments and executing the details of each play that it takes to be successful. And football's a tough game, and the margin for error is really small, and it's magnified when you're playing against top level competition.
You mentioned yesterday, Coach, running game's getting a little bit better each week. You tweaked the offensive line a little bit, Brandon Consul to center. Is that something that's permanent, or is that just kind of half to half, game to game, or? Well,
we evaluate every week. We evaluate each position week in and week out, and want to put the best guys out there for our team to give us the best chance to be successful, and put them in the in the best positions for our team, and to to make us as strong as we can be. So, that was an adjustment that we made last week that I think was beneficial. And kind of as we go through practice this week, we'll make all those decisions.
DeMarcus Glover got some playing time too. Looked like he was pretty active. At least
He
in the
was,
stats.
really good to see DeMarcus out there. DeMarcus is a good football player, and it's great to be able to get him out on the field, and he can, he's capable of doing some things. He's a really talented linebacker, and it's exciting for us to be able to get him out there and to see him developing within our defense, and it's gonna make us better. The more depth and the more versatility we have.
Coach, this last game, and it's the second quarter, is pretty even. It's 14-7, and you're moving the ball, and then you have the 2 plays in a row where your running back has plays and slips and falls, and you end up, on 4th down, you don't get it. And it kind of seemed like that turned the game. Like from a mental standpoint, does your team swing too much, you think, or?
I really, that was a big, opportunity for us. That was a great opportunity for us. And, slipping and, we had some physical mistakes on that drive, and that was positive because we moved the ball really well, and, we slipped, as you said a couple times. We missed a throw. Like, I can live with that. Like, that's part of playing football. I never went through a game and never, went and didn't make a bad throw. I mean, that's part of playing quarterback. That's part of the deal. So, we're okay. Like, we're okay at that point. It's 14-7. They get the ball back down in their territory. It's a missed opportunity for us because I think if we hit that completion, we're down inside the red zone with a great opportunity to put points on the board. But I think the big swing for us. And this is pretty consistent, in looking at our season, has been that opening possessions of the second half. That's where games have turned a little bit on us, and it's kind of altered our plan and kind of what we kind of set out to do in the second half. And I think this week was no different. Going into halftime, again, kind of got something going there in the end of half 2-minute situation, and ended up punting the ball away in their territory, and they ran the clock out, coming back out 21-7. Feeling really good about where we're at. Got some stops. Offense was playing well, moving the football again, not always finishing the drive, but moving the football, running the ball with effectiveness. And we come out in the second half, and we give up a long drive for a touchdown, and then offensively come right back. We come right back. We make a big play on the first play of the second half, and we're down in there, get a couple big runs. We're down at the 2 or 3 yard line, and we take a negative play. We false start, and all of a sudden we're second and goal at the 10, and we come away with no points. So to me, that was the turning point, and that was the difference in the game where we had that opportunity. Get a stop. Get a stop defensively, but even still, they scored. Offense comes right back down. Like, go put the ball in the end zone, put it back to a 2-score game, and you send a message and you create that momentum. And I think that's where we haven't been able to do that. We haven't been able to sustain any momentum in our favor, and that's. It's challenging. I mean, football's a game. That way, it's that type of game, and teams that can go on runs. Teams that can put back-to-back scores together. I mean, it's a big deal, and unfortunately, we've been on the wrong side of that too many times this season.
Another thing, it's pretty unusual they control the ball a lot. Troy did, and they had the yardage as a turn. They didn't have a play over 18 yards in the whole game. I think that's a credit. You want to stop the big play.
Right.
18 yards was the longest play they had.
Yeah, no, and that was a positive for us. The 2 weeks leading up to that, we gave up a lot of explosive plays, and that was certainly a focus. And I think it's finding that balance. It's finding that balance within our defense and how we need to play, and what our personnel dictates, that we do and how we play. And we're we're finding that balance, and we're looking for that balance because, again, it's hard to go, 1 week and play so well against the run to the next week and, not be able to stop the run. And then, a week you don't give up explosive plays. To the next week you give up a bunch of them. And, again, it's just, it's growing pains, and, we got to keep fighting. We just got to keep fighting. We got to keep believing. We got to keep playing with purpose and practicing with purpose and preparing the best ways that we can. And, those things work. It's proven, and there's a track record of that. So, we got to keep our minds, where they need to be. Keep focusing on the right things, and the success and the consistency will come.
Compare their two quarterbacks, differences between the two primarily.
For
UMass.
Well, I think one's bigger guy, bigger stature. I think very talented, and the one that's been playing a little bit more recently is a smaller guy, quicker guy, makes things happen. I think they're both really good. I think they're both really talented players, and not sure what the status is and who we'll see. We're preparing for both. But they're a talented offense. They got good wide receivers, good running backs. Their offensive line is excellent. Their tackles, really, seen them kind of dominate, games against some really good defenses. So, it's going to be a great challenge for our team to come out and play as well as we can play and to execute at a high level to be successful.
I noticed they give up nearly 300 yards a game rushing. Most coaches would look at that and salivate, and metaphorically speaking. But what are you telling your guys this week? It's an opportunity to perhaps uncork your running game a little bit.
Well, it's we're going to continue focusing on the runs, just like we have the last few weeks, and I think that we experienced a little bit more success this past week. Had some really effective runs. I think we had our first 3 explosive runs of the season, which was exciting. Other than quarterback runs, so the first carries that our running backs have had that have resulted in explosive plays, which was awesome. And again, it's things that we're in control of. It's things that we do, and we have to make sure that we're right. That we have to make sure that our assignments are understood. That we're playing with great fundamentals, great techniques, play in and play out before we start worrying about an opponent and what they do and all those sorts of things. So I think it always that focus is always on us and working to improve in the best ways that we can.
Speaking of improving, one guy who looks like he's figured it out is your punter, and he had a great week, didn't he? This last week
He did. He played an outstanding game. I think he averaged over 46 yards. Punt, he had you mentioned two punts over 50 yards, pinned them in deep a couple of times, and that's huge for us. That's absolutely critical for us and for our team, and to allow our defense to work on a long field and to hopefully get a quick stop, get a 3 and out, and to get it back to our offense on a short field. So the kicking game is so critical, and there's so many yards that are exchanged in that part of the game. And Coach Hurd does a fantastic job with our specialists, does a fantastic job with our special teams units, and I think our guys are playing solid football right now. And again, we have to keep that up. That has to be a major focus of our team and something that we pride ourselves on. So it's been really good to see how we've played in the kicking game the past couple weeks.
Coach, you've played on the road and taken teams on the road. Is there certain mentality you have to instill in a team when they're on the road playing, back east against UMass, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I think that, the positive thing is, even, when we're at home, we're in the hotel, so our routine stays relatively the same. I think, there's always challenges, playing on the road, that you may not have, playing at home. But I also think there's more distractions when you're playing at home. I know as as a player, I loved playing on the road. I really did. And honestly, like I love it as a coach as well, because you love being in a great environment where you got passionate fans that are, really at you and yelling at you and screaming at you. And I think that's motivating. I really do. And, and for me, like, being on the road, I get a chance to get a good night's sleep. I don't have, a million kids, crawling into my bed throughout the night. So, it's a beautiful thing. And, I really have. I've always loved it. And, I always think back and, to our game and, when I was at John Carroll and when we got that win over Mount Union, I was so glad it was there. I was so glad that it was there. It was so much better for me being there. And I love that aspect of it. I love that competitiveness of it. I love the challenge, of going on the road and, having to be at your best and everybody against you, and all you got is your teammates and your coaches and your fans who are there, and you're all in it together. And I think it's a really special thing.
Coach, obviously everyone knows that your wide receivers are a strength of your offense, but I think we've seen that because your wide receivers are so good, it's opened up some opportunities for Maverick to make some plays. He's had touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Just how valuable has he been from an offensive standpoint as a weapon for you guys?
He's been extremely valuable. I think, really, providing some versatility, to our offense. And, Mav's just a really reliable player. He has he's got a great understanding in the run game. He does a great job. He's got a great demeanor and physical demeanor in the run game, and I think he's proven that he can be successful and be a weapon in the pass game as well. And I think when you're looking at tight ends, that's what you hope to have. You hope to have a group of tight ends that that challenge a defense on how they want to play. Do they want to play this guy in nickel? Do they want to play him in base people? And hopefully if you got the guys that can do it in the run game and can stretch the field vertically, you're gonna make it right, based on what their personnel plan is. So tight ends are critical, for us and for the success of our offense. And been very proud of Mav and how he's played. Certainly, Brandon Junk has done a great job for us as well. Darrell Long is one of the best leaders that we have on our team. Nick Johns, has done a great job for us, and he's healing up and hoping to get him back. So, it's a solid group. It's a solid group of people, most importantly, and leaders who bring great effort, great energy, and a lot of pride, every single day to practice.
Coach, this question's probably a week early, but after UMass, you got your open week. Is that coming at a good time for you in the schedules, looking ahead, or?
Well, I do. I think that it's, I think that, we've played, we'll have played 5 games at that point. And I think that it's a great time, to have a bye week and to, really, take a little bit off your players from a physical standpoint. We played some big teams. We played some strong teams, some really physical teams. And, I think that, everybody, right, this time of the year has got bumps and bruises and aches and pains and certainly aren't feeling as good as they did, before the season started. So I think it's absolutely, I think it's a perfect time. I think it's great. And, we got to take care of business this week and, continue to work to improve. And, it'll be the same situation, next week into our bye week. We're going to practice really hard, and we're going to focus on ourselves, and we're going to do all the same things, do all the same things and keep building great habits and, keep practicing doing things the right way.
Now that we've concluded the media questions, Coach, we have one question from the class today.
All right.
Hey, Coach.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
You said that you haven't been able to sustain the momentum. What do you think you need to focus on in order to do that?
Well, I think it's a great question, and I think it's a lot of things. I really do. There's a lot of areas, that lead to that. Some of that's, hey, we're playing good teams, and other teams make plays too, and not every drive is going to result in a touchdown. Not every defensive drive is going to result in a 3 and out. And there's going to be positives, there's going to be negatives. You're going to make some plays, you're going to miss some plays. But I think again, it's controlling the controllables. It's controlling the things that we're in control of, which is you know, our alignment, our assignment, our fundamentals, our techniques, those types of things that I think are most important. You know, I mean, you guys can see it on the wall. You know, I mean, why we win. Number one, eliminate self-inflicted wounds. Okay, like that's the most important thing. Our blueprint, unmatched commitment to technique and fundamentals. Like those are the things that are most important to us. Those are the things that we talk about every single day. So, you know, that's where our focus is. You know, is on those areas.
Any other questions? Thank you all. There will be no press conference next week as it is a bye week.
All right, thank you guys.